You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump's Penn Station extortion scheme ruled flagrantly illegal by judge, based on an article by Sarah K. Burris. Federal money as personal extortion. The power was never hidden. This was not a policy dispute dressed up as one. Donald Trump controlled the federal purse, and he used that power to choke off $16 billion for the Hudson Tunnel project after demanding a vanity prize in return. Rename Penn Station after him. That is the governing logic here, stripped of the spin. The president did not merely oppose a project. He tried to convert public infrastructure funding into personal tribute. The cover story was thin. Trump claimed he was reviewing hiring practices. The Department of Transportation talked about responsibly spending taxpayer dollars and vaguely gestured at unconstitutional, discriminatory contracting practices. The judge found that explanation unconvincing, and the record in the source leaves little room for pretending otherwise. Trump himself said the quiet part out loud. He was cutting the project because Chuck Schumer fought for it. The damage fell on workers, not Trump. The federal freeze shut down construction and laid off about 1,000 workers. The tunnel project ran out of money after months without payments. That is the real architecture of this kind of abuse. The injury lands on workers, commuters, and infrastructure, while the decision-maker treats collapse as leverage. Trump did not suffer the consequence of the sabotage. He produced it and kept talking. Misdirection is method. This story is full of familiar bait-and-switch tactics. The blame is pushed toward hiring rules, contracting language, and bureaucratic review, as though the state stumbled into dysfunction rather than being directed into it. But Judge Jeanette Vargas ruled that the suspension violated federal guidelines, and the administration never even seriously contested that it was flagrantly breaking federal law. The excuse was not a defense. It was camouflage. Retribution masquerading as governance. The source makes the motive plain. Political punishment. Trump said he was targeting Schumer, and New York Attorney General Letitia James called the suspension a brazen act of political retribution. That is the pattern worth naming. He's using federal authority not to administer programs but to pressure enemies, demand loyalty rituals, and impose personal grievance on public institutions. The request to rename Penn Station and Dulles Ephraim is not a side detail. It is the governing philosophy. What this reveals. The deeper story is not just that Trump tried to kill a tunnel project. It is that modern authoritarian impulse often arrives wearing procurement language, legal pretexts, and administrative delay. Public power gets turned into a bargaining chip. Infrastructure becomes a hostage. And if institutions do not force a stop, the lie hardens into procedure. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Kuzal, thanks for listening.